All right, welcome to the episode. Today we have special guest Jimmy Mania from the former Jimmy and Frank Talk Wrestling. Jimmy, how are you?
I am doing well. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. All right, so basically, Jimmy, he is disgruntled. He has become a disgruntled fan, and he's not just saying it. He actually stopped watching, and this is WWE and wrestling was Jimmy's passion. He loved The Undertaker. That was his hero. And like a lot of fans, after this past WrestleMania, he just that's it. That was the final nail in the coffin, and he stopped watching. So, God, tell me, tell the audience how come you stopped watching? What's going on?
Well, I have to tell you, Frank, to be very honest, I've never been happier and I've never been calmer because what happened with me was with wrestling, and I have no shame in saying this, and I'm sure this is going to rub some people the wrong way. I just couldn't watch the show and turn my brain off.
And right, as far as what
as far as their pushing of certain individuals,
name names, talk names, talk.
All right, fine. I'll get into it. A guy that I always liked from when he was in FCW, Roman Reigns. He's always been one of my favorite guys. But what they failed to recognize is the fact that he was getting booed out of the building, and I have no doubt that's continued.
Okay. We'll talk about.
And
what else? What else? I want to know. Tell people.
The booking of Bray Wyatt. When the truth of the matter is, he deserved much better than getting jobbed out his fourth WrestleMania in a row.
Okay, so you have certain favorites that you think, and this is your opinion, and maybe mine too, and other fans. But we'll talk about why certain.
And honestly, ultimately, what happened was I lost all hope that they would actually do something with the guys that they have. I should have came to this conclusion years ago during the John Cena run.
Yeah.
Was that once they have their one guy that they care about, they're not going to give anyone else anything.
Right. And
so honestly, I decided the best thing for me to do was to just quit. I canceled my subscription. I left every Facebook and YouTube channel. The only Facebook page I'm part of is the one that I created that you're on. And I believe you mentioned off air that since WrestleMania, that page has been relatively quiet. We used to have, 5, 6, 7 guys constantly talking? Now it's a ghost town.
Even though the page isn't like super huge, there's like about 200 members, but on Monday nights and Tuesday nights, especially Monday nights, there was active live discussions and posts constantly throughout the night. But now, I noticed, and I even had to make a remark about a month and a half ago. It was a Raw, and I mean, there was like 3 posts, and one was like about not related about Raw. But anyway, yeah, we'll talk about this. Is the main thing because this is me and Jimmy have been going back and forth on commenting about why WWE seems so stubborn and keeping their top guy like John Cena and Roman Reigns. I'm going to explain to Jimmy, and we're going to talk him off the ledge. And maybe it's my opinion. It's what I think. I came up with this from listening to all the shoot interviews and the podcasts. I listen to a lot of YouTube, and so go ahead, Jimmy. I mean, go ahead. What do you ask me? What do you want me to talk about?
I'd honestly like to understand why it is that when a guy is getting so viciously booed that he doesn't turn heel. That's number one. Number two, he isn't the only babyface on the roster that.
Okay. All right, one at a time. Okay, so just like with John Cena and now Roman Reigns, I am. This is from doing my research from listening to all A to Z podcasts and everybody in wrestling. How it works is WWE, the management, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, Kevin Dunn, they have to pick their guy that's who is going to be the face of their company, who's going to represent their product, who's going to be on magazine covers, make appearances, do charities, and this. And they pitched this. They pitched their selection to sponsors and advertising companies and the USA Network. And once they make that agreement, they have to stick with Cena and Roman Reigns. It's they can't
even at
just
the cost of their own viewership.
listen. Yeah, they have to stick with them because they just don't pick somebody out of the blue and then they become the face of the company. You remember in 2013, 2014, that's when they started the Roman Reigns push, and they invest a lot of money in promoting him in TV time. He's on every other. His face is on the poster of every other pay-per-view. He's on a main event, so they can't just pull the plug on him. Pulling the plug on John Cena and Roman Reigns would have ramifications throughout the whole product, and that's why they just can't do it. So now you're saying, well, he's getting booed. How come they don't listen? Are they stupid? Are they?
I think no. I don't think they're stupid. I think they know exactly what they're doing. They just don't care.
No, and they care. I listen. They believe me. With John Cena and now Roman Reigns,
Roman Reigns, it's worse. But it's worse. And I never thought I'd see the day where a guy gets booed more than Cena. Now, the last bit of Raw that I watched, and maybe this puts into perspective of, what I've seen. The last thing I ever saw before I finally said, "Fuck this, I'm done," was the night after WrestleMania. When that show opened with that crowd chanting, "Thank you, Taker," and I heard Roman Reigns come out to the biggest heel reception I've heard in 25 years of doing this industry. Listen, I honestly don't care how anyone tries to spin it. When your top babyface is standing in that ring and the crowd is chanting, "Fuck you, go away, please retire," and things like that, that's not good.
But that's good for a heel.
Yeah, it's good for a heel because you could draw money off that heat.
Right.
That's not how he is positioned. That's not how he's presented. And the funny thing is, 20 years ago, with WCW around, they would take this heat the same way they took the heat Vince had when he screwed Brett, and they would make tons of coin off of it.
Right.
I mean, did I want Taker to listen? Honestly, did I want Taker to lose at Mania? No. But did I recognize it was right for him to lose? Absolutely. A 52-year-old Taker shouldn't be beating a 29-year-old Samoan badass. But the fact is, Reigns should have left that building as a heel. There's no doubt in my mind.
Too much information at once. All right, so going back to Roman Reigns, the booing, they hear it, they understand it, and now what they do, same thing with Cena. I mean, now it's even worse with Reigns is they do damage control. So when you hear idiots like JBL going, "Oh, look, the crowd is excited," Michael Cole says, "Oh, the fans are cheering the people they hate and booing the people they love." It's all damage control. It's just putting a spin on it. It's putting up. They're trying to mop up the spill.
But the funny thing is, you got people that actually believe it.
So it's working. That's what damage control is. Now, if they have Michael Cole saying, "Wow, this is perplexing. We can't understand why the fans are booing Roman Reigns. He's talented. Why you see it doesn't work, but it actually draws heat." And so that's what all the spinning is. Now, listen, they're not stupid. And if if anybody goes and watches my videos, I said it last year. It was right around this time when they did the brand split. They pulled the plug on Roman Reigns. I honestly think that when he got the suspension because of the wellness policy or whatever, I think that was work. Because if he would have came up dirty, they would have covered it up. I think it was just an excuse to pull the plug on him as a champion because he wasn't going anywhere. When he's a champion and he's going to close out shows and they're booing him, that they can't really spin that. So that's why they
what
took
happened at WrestleMania?
Yeah, they can't really spin it. Which WrestleMania are you referring to?
This year.
Okay. All right. So this year,
instead of handing him a belt, they handed him the Undertaker's career.
Okay. All right. So now a lot of fans that Jimmy's talking about the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania when Roman Reigns got booed for like 8-9 minutes. It wasn't really much what he did. All right. So go now. Roman Reigns and The Undertaker, if you notice, they never promoted that match as The Undertaker's last match. There was rumors, but every year is a rumor that it's going to be his last match. Maybe if you are a real keen wrestling WWE fan, once Jim Ross came out unexpected and unannounced to announce the Undertaker Roman Reigns match, that was a signal because it was always long rumored that Undertaker wanted Jim Ross to call his last match. Okay, so they never promoted that match as the Undertaker's final last match, and believe me, they could have. They would have made a lot of money. I mean, don't you think that would have had an even bigger interest that this is the Undertaker's last match ever?
No, I don't know what the Honestly, I'm gonna be really honest with you, Frank. I really don't know at the end of the day what WWE's position is on Undertaker from a drawing standpoint. When he had the streak, that was a huge drawing factor to WrestleMania that they themselves killed.
Right, but they had to. I explained to you they have to do it because the Undertaker he's old. He can't perform anymore. And that streak was becoming bigger than The Undertaker, is becoming bigger than WrestleMania. And people were expecting to, they were making their plans every year around the streak and who the Undertaker was going to face. And what if Undertaker can't perform? And you're going to have disappointed fans.
Well, then he should have just retired when the streak ended. Considering the stinker of a match that we saw this year, I was embarrassed for him.
Okay.
As an Undertaker fan of 25 years, I was embarrassed at what I saw.
Well, then if you're an Undertaker fan or a wrestling fan, then you have to criticize Mark Calloway.
I do. I absolutely do.
Right.
I think The Undertaker made a very big error in judgment. Number one, agreeing to have the streak end to begin with, because in my mind, maybe because I'm so cynical and so jaded, I think this, I feel the streak wasn't just his. It was ours.
Right,
Those of us that cheered for him when he was beating up Hulk Hogan. Those of us that cheered for him when you still had the Rocks and the Austins and the DXs that were drudging everything up. There were those of us that wanted to see Taker as the champion and not Stone Cold.
Right,
there were guys like us that wanted to see, like, for example, I was pissed when Undertaker wasn't main eventing WrestleMania 23. When he won the Rumble to face Batista, that was the best match of the night.
Okay, let's just stay
things like that. I felt that Taker was very selfish in that.
Okay, well, yeah, listen, because it's tough to turn down $1 million plus.
No, I mean, I feel it was selfish on his part to have the streak end.
No, because, again, if he retires with the streak intact, people are going to always keep talking about it, and it's always going to be...
let him talk.
But if he's not going to wrestle again, then what's the point of having the streak? It's okay. He's undefeated.
He retired undefeated. Many people like myself.
He didn't retire undefeated. He retired undefeated at WrestleMania.
But that would have been. I feel that was a distinction that he deserved, because he was the one guy you could say since Andre that always put the business first.
Okay, but listen, Andre the Giant, he went undefeated for 15 years. I mean, in any event or whatever, he went undefeated in his career. The Undertaker, this streak was at WrestleMania. And come on, let's be honest. The streak really didn't mean nothing until he got up to 14 or 15 or 16.
But I agree with you.
And who did he really? If you really want to analyze it, who did he beat in his first?
He beat. At the beginning, there were a couple of guys that he beat that were credible.
They were named
Jake the Snake, Diesel.
They were all they were names, old names that.
Honestly, I felt Taker's undefeated streak, even though they didn't mention it, I felt it started to mean something when he fought Kane, because that was the first great WrestleMania match for Taker. You know, because
Right.
the matches previous, we could both agree, really weren't spectacular.
Right.
I think you get what I mean.
Yeah, if you listen to Bruce Pritchard, who he's
I've heard his podcast is very good. I got to listen to it.
He's one of the biggest insiders in WWE. He's basically besides Pat Patterson and Kevin Dunn, he's there, and he admitted that they didn't even realize the Undertaker was undefeated at WrestleMania.
No, it's something they realized over time.
Yeah, and then it just started taking building a life of its own. So what? Listen, it was good for its time, but all streaks are meant to be broken. You know, it doesn't take away just because he lost at WrestleMania. It doesn't make him less of a legend.
No, I know that. To me,
and besides, look who he lost to. He lost to the former two-time UFC heavyweight champion and Brock Lesnar. I mean, he didn't just lose to the Miz.
Don't let Nick Durst hear you say that.
No, well, he would. No, I'm saying he would agree with me, and he knows what I'm talking about. It wasn't, or he didn't, lose the streak to Baron Corbin. We don't know who Baron Corbin is going to be in 5 years. So at least it was protected. And 25, 50 years from now, you'll say, oh, okay, Brock Lesnar, okay. That Brock Lesnar was an all-time great, of course. But then going back to the WrestleMania match, Roman and The Undertaker, a lot of fans, and including you took away from the match that Roman Reigns, you hate Roman Reigns, and you hate WWE's decision because Roman Reigns retired The Undertaker, right?
What I hate is that they had him retire The Undertaker without turning him heel. For the simple fact of, if you're going to sacrifice The Undertaker, if you're going to sacrifice The Undertaker by making him lose, to which I'm sorry, maybe I'm selfish, I don't feel that since the streak ended, he should have been losing to anybody.
But wait, I'm asking you your opinion. When you saw that, you saw that, and you feel that you have heat with Roman Reigns, and I say you because you represent a significant portion of the audience. What you saw from that match was you're mad because at the end of the match, The Undertaker put down his jacket and hat and signaled to the universe, the WWE.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It aggravates me that his career ended at the hands of a man who isn't over.
Okay.
And I don't care what Joe C. on the page says. When you're a babyface and the crowd's booing you out of the building, you're not over.
Okay. All right. So now I'm going to explain, and me and Jimmy have been going back and forth about this. Okay. First of all, again, they didn't promote the match as The Undertaker's last match. But it was. Also, it's not. You don't know. Undertaker, listen, as we talked about, Undertaker could appear 3 years from now. Out of the yeah, sure, he could have.
The second that guy kissed his wife in front of the camera, he was done. He was one of those guys, Frank, and you know this as well as I do. He was one of those guys that believed in kayfabe.
Okay, but listen,
in it.
I know he never broke character. But listen, 3 years from now, if Vince McMahon offers him $500,000 to make an appearance, the lights go dark. He
can make an appearance. He'll never wrestle again.
No, listen. He could make an appearance. The lights go dark, and then all of a sudden the lights come on. He appears. He puts his hand around somebody's throat, choke slams them, and pins them. You could do anything in wrestling, but so my point is they never promoted the match as his retirement match. So you can't give Roman Reigns credit that he retired him. We talked about this earlier. Usually when you say in combat sports, when you say somebody retired his opponent, it's because they beat them so bad that they can no longer continue. They ended their career. Or even in wrestling, you have a stipulation match. Loser leaves town, or if the loser has to retire. So that wasn't the stipulation for this match. I told you, I think it could have been any opponent The Undertaker would have faced at WrestleMania, and he would have, if he did retire, he would have retired anyway. It has nothing to do with his opponent.
I think what you're missing is that going in, they knew it was going to be his last match,
I
and
don't. Do you? I don't think. Do you know?
I believe it. That's
Yeah,
what I believe. I'm not saying I know.
but don't you
I'm
think? Don't you think the last 5 years it's been rumored that this is it was always could have been the Undertaker's last match?
no,
I mean,
no.
didn't we always have this doubt?
There was always speculation. I'm talking about the people in the business.
Yeah, but
I'm talking the people in the business. I believe they knew it was going to be his swan song, and they wanted to prop up their hand-chosen guy. And I want to go back to something you said earlier about how they pick who's going to be the top guy. That's their first mistake.
well,
They're not supposed to pick who the number one guy is. You're supposed to be listening to the crowd and who, first of all, who they're paying to see and who they're cheering.
okay.
It
Well,
ain't him.
listen. Before we move on to that, there's a lot of intangibles that go into for them picking the top guy.
Well, guess what? The last guy they picked was Cena, and the result has been a steady ratings decline over the last decade.
Okay, let's just hold on.
So history. What I'm saying is, history proves their way sucks.
Okay, hold on. Let's not get away from the talk. Okay, just back to the Roman Reigns Undertaker match real quick. So okay, yeah, they picked Roman Reigns, or they used Roman Reigns. I think their intention was to get a rub from facing the Undertaker, not so much beating him, facing him, because at that point he again beating him meant nothing. The streak was over, so that didn't matter. And who the Undertaker, it wasn't the same Undertaker. He's 52 years old.
But to many it didn't matter because it's still the Undertaker.
But he's old. He's old. You could see it, and at that point it's not realistic for him to go out as the winner. It makes more sense.
No holds barred match. It certainly is.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, it makes more sense for the legend to lose to. He lost to Father Time. That's who he lost to. He lost to Father Time.
But the ultimate mistake that was made was they had that happen, and they didn't have the sense to make him their number one villain.
Oh, but I think no. I think they knew it was going to give Roman Reigns heat.
But then that's even more damning.
Oh, this is what I think. I think the night after Raw, I think they thought initially he was going to get booed, but then they were hoping and betting that the crowd would turn and maybe Roman Reigns could.
Has it? Because I haven't watched.
No. This is. Hold on. I think they thought that he would get initially booed and get he would have felt the heat, and we know the show opened up the first 5 minutes without anybody coming out. The fans were booing and chanting, and
they were cheering for the Undertaker at first.
And then
once his music hit, I challenge anyone to show me a time where someone got booed worse.
No, I don't think so. But I think they expected it. They expected stuff like that. And what I think they were betting on is that during that promo, maybe Roman Reigns would have praised the Undertaker and talked about him, how good he was, and that what an honor. Maybe he would have turned. The crowd would have turned and cheered in unison with and cheered and respected Roman Reigns. But that didn't happen, and that's where I really think that. WWE has egg on their face. They really underestimated how much the fans don't like Roman Reigns. And I think they don't like him because of his mannerisms and the way he carries himself.
No, the reason they don't like him is very simple, and I've been saying this for years now. They don't like him because they recognize the push he's getting.
Right. I think it's more than that now. I think it's more than that.
No, I think that's exactly what it is. I think that, you said this in the past on one of our former shows. They see another John Cena and they're saying, "No way, Jose, I'm not going through that again." Because
right. Yeah, I think so.
Despite what guys like Durst think, Cena has not been good for the business.
It's basically the same storyline with Cena and Roman Reigns. But now, just to finish up on Roman Reigns Undertaker match, I think the story that Vince McMahon wants to tell, and first of all, I hope you realize this: the Undertaker is Vince McMahon's all-time favorite wrestler. You know that, right?
I don't know
above Hulk
about.
Hogan. Yeah.
I don't know about
Oh,
that.
oh yeah. It's been well reported. The Undertaker is Vince McMahon's favorite all-time wrestler. He created him. He loves the fact that the Undertaker has been so loyal, and he recognizes his work, his
Well,
leadership.
I do know that Vince believes that the Undertaker's his most loyal performer.
But he's his favorite wrestler. People have said, a lot of people, like Bruce Pritchard and Jim Ross, they've said Vince Undertaker is Vince McMahon's all-time favorite performer, even ahead of Hulk Hogan. Now, with that said, I think the story that they were trying to tell in that match was just like we talked about earlier. The legend going out in his last match, like Muhammad Ali, his last match, Mike Tyson, his last match, Babe Ruth in his last game. The story was that Father Time had taken the best of these legends, and they didn't have anything left. I mean, if you go back, we talked about this. Muhammad Ali's last match with Larry Holmes.
Yes.
Larry Holmes, that was Muhammad Ali was Larry Holmes' idol growing up. Who he was everybody's idol, and in that match, Larry Holmes actually felt bad for Muhammad Ali because Muhammad Ali was a shell of himself, and he actually took it easy on Muhammad Ali. He didn't want to embarrass or hurt Muhammad Ali. Same thing with Mike Tyson. His last match, he lost to a bum. He got knocked out by a bum, beat up bad. I mean, we don't talk about Babe Ruth's last game. We don't talk about Michael Jordan's last game, how many points he scored or what he did if they won. So you get my drift. I think the story that Vince McMahon was trying to tell was, from the Undertaker's point of view, that Father Time beats everybody, and eventually every legend has to go. Now, this is what my problem was with the mistake, and I don't know why they did this. See, now we talked about Larry Holmes respecting Muhammad Ali, and if a lot of people didn't see this and forgot about this, Roman Reigns disrespected the Undertaker during that match. Well, at least that was the story they were telling. As the Undertaker was beat up, exhausted, and trying to get on his feet, on his knees, Roman Reigns slapped him in the face, pushed his face, completely disrespected the Undertaker. So I think that's a heel move. Why would you do that? I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. Why would you do that? Why not do like Shawn Michaels did with Ric Flair? You know, where he felt sorry, he didn't want to end his career, but he had to. To
me, that would have been even more sickening.
Right. But or why couldn't Roman Reigns have embraced the Undertaker after the match? You know, you could read lips, say, "Thank you very much, you're the best," and then Roman Reigns could have walked away, went to the back. The Undertaker could have stood in the middle of the ring.
Why, Frank, with the friggin' pyro at the end? Because I think the company was shoving it in everyone's face that no matter what you do, we're going to push them, and if you don't like it, too bad. Do you want to know the truth? I think they are that vindictive.
But that's not pushing Roman Reigns as a babyface. That's pushing him as a heel. Why would they do that?
But that was their way of. But to me, that was their way of saying, "Fuck you. We're going to do what we want." That's to me what it was.
But what are they doing? I don't understand. What are they doing that they want? I don't understand.
They are basically shoving it in your face that he is their guy and nothing.
Yeah, but we know that. We know that because.
But they enjoy doing that, Frank. I've been telling you that.
But you're talking about them disrespecting the Undertaker. And Vince McMahon's not going to disrespect the Undertaker. Why would they do that for Roman Reigns? If they want to give him the rub off the Undertaker, like you say, and
because to them it was more important to stick it to their customers than to show respect to the Undertaker. I think you're overestimating how much they respect the Undertaker. Because if they had any respect for him, they wouldn't have beaten him. Not in that shameful match.
I think I just
belonged in there with someone that can make him look good, like an AJ Styles, or a Finn Balor.
Okay, but he would have lost to either of them.
And guess what? It would have been more accepted. It would have been more, and this is where you need to let me talk. It would have been more accepted because it would have been a performer that the crowd respected. Because you notice, no one shit on Shawn Michaels when he beat Ric Flair. No one shit on The Undertaker when he beat Shawn Michaels. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, but I just said that they respected each other and they showed.
But guess what? The crowd respected those men too. The crowd don't fucking respect this guy. They don't like him. They don't like the air that he breathes.
You know what? That I think maybe WWE doesn't like and respect Roman Reigns because that's the worst thing they could have did to him. maybe they were fucking over Roman Reigns.
Yeah, they fucked him over by putting him in the main event of WrestleMania, his third year in a row.
Okay, but James,
GOAT.
How did he benefit from that?
He didn't. They don't see it that way.
What do you mean they don't see it?
Because they don't care. They don't care, Frank.
James, they do care. This guy can't get in front of a microphone without having the crowd boo the hell out of him. They do care, trust me. But anyway, listen. All right, we'll get off of that because we'll go on and on forever. Listen, if you want to know, it's gotten worse. The Roman Reigns,
like I said, after I heard him say, "This is my," the second he says, "This is my yard now,"
which is
that
the
was
stupidest
the last thing I said, really? You're going to go that route after the way he's received?
It's the stupidest thing. Well, I mean, at least he kept some rub off it, but now he can't even talk. Last week, I saw a clip where he started to talk, and they booed him so much he couldn't talk, and he said, "Oh, maybe if you let me talk, I might say something you might like." And then he said something actually.
He didn't say that.
Yeah, he said, "If you let me talk, I might say something you might like." And then he actually said something like, "Oh, Braun Strowman beat the hell out of me," and the fans cheered. He goes, "You see, I told you like it." So he's being self-disparaging now. He's a fool. But anyway,
as a baby face, he's a failure.
Okay, so we'll talk about that. Now we talking about the fans. You say, and you feel, and maybe a lot of fans feel that WWE doesn't care about their fans.
They don't. Okay, they have no respect for their audience.
Well,
the Royal Rumble in 2014 was the proof of that.
Right. Oh yeah, I think
listen. How many of the crowd favorites have they taken and just completely ruined their momentum?
I'd say, listen, if I have to defend them, they have. Okay, and this ties in when we talk about the mystery of why they won't turn Roman Reigns heel. Well, because as it's been explained from hearing Jim Ross and these people talk, they are not going to turn their top babyface heel until they could find a replacement, somebody just as good or better. And
well, if they don't want to replace him, they're not even going to bother looking.
I think they tried last year with Finn Balor. If you remember, I can't remember any wrestler who debuted in WWE and got such a strong push so fast. This guy won. He beat Roman Reigns in his third match.
That was because Roman failed the drug thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, they could have done other things. He beat him clean, and then he went and beat Seth Rollins for the Universal title at SummerSlam. That's a big push. That's a big push for anybody in his first month. But of course, damn it, Finn Balor got hurt. It's nobody's fault. But then they can't go. Then they can't, in their eyes. Now, 10 months, a year passes. And now they have to go to Plan B and C and D. So that's the reason why they won't turn Roman Reigns heel until they find somebody better. Just like John Cena.
They had people that were better than Cena, and they
listen. Yeah, okay. We've talked about this. They gave people chances. They made Sheamus champion, Alberto Del Rio champion, Jack Swagger champion. They gave the Miz the title. They gave people chances. They CM Punk. They put the title on Daniel Bryan. He got hurt. It's not his fault. It's like bad luck when actually they do
Frank?
go. What?
Frank.
Yeah.
When it comes to the John Cena push, you cannot tell me that when CM Punk was the most popular guy and listen, you're hearing this from a guy, and I lost count how many times I say, and I have to say this because people think I worship the ground the guy walks on. No, I just respect him for having the balls to talk, to speak his mind about the company.
Well,
Punk was the guy that should have replaced Cena.
Okay, but
and they could have done it. They chose not to.
Well, listen, like I said before, there's a lot of intangibles and information that.
But hey, wait, you just said that they can't turn someone unless they have a proper replacement. Let's see. Punk was over. He was outselling him in merchandise. The fans were completely behind him. He was the guy. Guess what they chose to do instead? They chose instead to put him in the mid-card as the champion while Cena was in the main event.
Mm-hmm. I know, we know. But listen, I think, again, there's reasons maybe that we don't know why. Maybe they wanted to make Punk the top face, but, but listen.
We sure had a funny way of showing it.
But listen, me and you don't know backstage stuff that nobody will ever know. Punk's been he's been gone 3 years, and this guy, more and more stories keep coming up about how Punk is really he's an asshole.
Oh, he is an asshole. Yeah. I can tell you that from my experience.
So right, and you've met him, and you said he's an asshole in person. Listen, maybe that's just the way he is around everybody, and people don't want to, they don't want to put all their eggs in his baskets. He's a moody motherfucker. He's an arrogant, pompous person, and maybe they don't feel secure in putting the company in his lap. He's a time bomb. He's a pipe bomb. Maybe they wanted to. Maybe they were really rooting for CM Punk. But he's just he's not flexible. But
their actions say otherwise.
No, their actions don't say otherwise. We just don't know. They gave him.
I have a pretty good. I don't know for a fact, but I got a pretty good idea.
Listen,
if they wanted to, they could have ran with him, because I can tell you, and this is just my opinion. It's just an opinion. I believe anti-hero CM Punk versus corporate John Cena would have been the most realistic storyline since Vince versus Stone Cold.
Yes. I understand. Listen, I understand.
And Punk would still be in the industry now.
Listen, I understand. We don't know that. I understand what you're saying. I would, as a fan, I would have loved to have seen that. But again, this episode is going to be about the real, keeping it real, and as far as the wrestling business goes. What does that do for Cena after the angle is over?
Down you go. That's what it does.
What do you mean?
Yeah, time. Get out of the way.
Well, maybe What does that do
for Bray Wyatt after he got the big loss?
Hold on. Wait a minute. What does that do for John Cena becoming corporate John Cena? Yeah, it'll be
what it does for him is
it'll be a hot angle for a year. But then what happens when that angle gets boring, and what happens when he loses all those young kids, young fans, and moms? So you have to think about it that way. All right, so
it seemed like he was the only guy in that company.
Well, maybe he was the only guy as far as the intangibles, as far as them being able to trust him and him being reliable. And believe me, me, I don't like John Cena at all. But this is a good segue, so we got to move on. The audience, and I just mentioned about the audience, who the young kids and the women. I told you their audience, their target audience is I don't know 4 years old to 12, and women 21 or 18 to 45. They don't care about me and you, males in the 24 to 40 demographic. They don't care about it.
I'm sure that's how it is, because I've heard, we've heard, especially after WrestleMania 32, we heard the regurgitated, things of Roman Reigns when he beat Triple H, saying, "Oh, this is a family show." Because I'm sure they sat him down, and said, I'm quoting a great guy, Joey Numbers, during one of his shows. It's okay, Roman. It doesn't matter that the people boo you. It's about the kids. It's nothing to do with all those people that spend thousands of dollars to come to WrestleMania. It has nothing to do with them. It's about the kids. Meanwhile, their ratings are as low as they've ever been.
I understand. And listen, I understand. And it's not right. But listen, you have to realize, and we talked about this, WWE stopped catering to the older audience like me and you, and uh, really in 1983 when Hulk Hogan and Sports Entertainment was born. I hope you realize Hulk Hogan was targeted to 3 to 12-year-olds and maybe women. He wasn't targeted to the older crowd. It just so happened everybody loved him, but he was targeted to kids. Oh, eat your vitamins.
And I understand that.
Right,
But
right.
I'll tell you this. When that character of Hulkamania ran its course, what did Hulk do?
Yeah, but the Hulk left. He left. It wasn't WWE. He left.
I understand that it wasn't WWE that did it, but Hulk Hogan had enough stroke that
No, well,
if he didn't want it, you know as well as I do because you were around in that era, Frank. Hulk, from the beginning of his career to the end of it, had the stroke.
yeah, he always had creative control.
That if he didn't want to do something, he wouldn't do it.
Right, and listen,
He had enough sense to recognize when his character needed a change.
yeah,
and when he did that,
3 years later, Jimmy, when he went to WCW, he was still Hulkamania, and fans were booing him there.
yeah, but guess what? It only took 2 years of booing for them to finally, get their shit together.
And there was a if you listen to Eric Bischoff, Eric Bischoff suggested to Hogan earlier in around '95 about turning heel, and Hulk Hogan turned him down. He said, "Oh, once you the famous, if you hear the interview, he goes, oh, you need to walk a mile in my boots, brother, to know what Hulk Hogan is all about." He didn't want to turn heel, but then when Kevin Nash and Scott Hall showed up, and he saw how cool the NWO was going to be, he jumped on it. But those they have to cater to the fans, and when Hulk Hogan left. If you remember, 93, 94, 95.
That was the year I came in,
but that was known as one of the low points in WWE history.
Yeah, and what was the target audience? Family friendly, like
right,
it is now.
Right, right, because they had to recycle and replenish their fans. The Hulk Hogan fans were done now, and now they had to get new fans, new young fans. The old fans like us aren't going to be around forever. Like us, well, you lost interest, I lost interest, and a lot of people lose interest. When people in their 20s and 30s don't follow wrestling usually. Maybe they follow it here and there. They're casual fans. They're not going to buy dolls. They're not going to buy merchandise like little kids. And the women, the parents, the mothers, they're the ones who are spending the money, and they're attracted to Roman Reigns. So. Listen, I think what you did and what I did, what I'm doing, it's fun to talk about, but it's maybe the product WWE is just not for us.
Listen, I came to the conclusion that it wasn't for me. What I always figured was this: it was no different than watching the Mets. As you know, I've been watching them for a while. Mm-hmm. It's habit and hope that kept me coming back. Habit because I was doing it for so long, and I hoped that it was going to get better. But once I broke the habit and I foregone all hope, it was the easiest thing for me to do.
Yeah. Listen, I grew up. I was there from the beginning of Hulkamania. I was, who wasn't a big Hulk Hogan fan? I love Macho Man, Piper. The late '80s.
Macho Man way more than Hulk.
Okay. Listen, the late '80s. I was as big as a wrestling fan as you could get. AWA, NWA. And then 1990 hits. 1989 hits. 1990. I started. I started getting other interests. Baseball, girls, whatever. I lost interest. I didn't follow the product really from 1990 to when 96 when. I stumbled upon WCW and Scott Hall invading Raw. So maybe it's just not for us anymore. We could still follow it if you want to talk about it. But
the only thing I know, and I want to make sure I look into the camera as I say this. How's it going, everybody? As you'll notice, a lot of shit's missing off my wall because it's all going away. The only thing I could say, that belt up there, that comes in the coffin with me. The only thing I know, and this is because of my best friend, hey, Chris, Hope you're doing all right. The only thing I know for sure that's going on is that Samoa Joe's fighting Brock Lesnar. And most people know that's a match I've wanted to see for years. But I won't be watching because I already know there's not a snowball's chance in hell that Samoa Joe even has a milli chance of winning, because the only one that's allowed to beat Brock Lesnar is Roman Reigns, so why waste my time? If this was a couple of years ago, oh, God, I would be creaming my pants for this rivalry. And I'll quote my favorite podcaster, Solomonster, who I listen to every now and then. You know, yeah, it's good to go in there and have a great match, but what good does it do Joe if he gets suplexed for 10 minutes, F5'd and pinned? It does nothing for him. The goal should be to try to bring Joe up a level, because Brock is already, and Frank knows this because he's a big Brock fan. I'm not. The goal should be to get Samoa Joe up a level, not just to build him up to knock him down so that Brock could look better for Roman Reigns. That's what I think.
Yeah, well, I don't agree with you there. I think if you haven't been watching, I don't know if you have been watching. Can you hear me? James?
Yeah, I'm here. I just put it on mute for a second.
I thought I was muted. Yeah.
No.
I don't know if you watched it. Listen, I don't think it's going to go down the way you described. They're from the start. This has been different. Samoa Joe choked out Paul Heyman to get Brock Lesnar back to TV. Samoa Joe, they're telling the story that Samoa Joe is not afraid of Brock Lesnar. And they're telling the story that Brock Lesnar is taking Samoa Joe seriously. He's not laughing. He's not smirking. He's considering him as a threat. They had an all-out brawl a couple of weeks ago. An all-out brawl where they went old school, where all the jobbers came out from backstage and tried to break it up. Then last week, Samoa Joe ambushed Brock, and he put the what's his submission move?
The choke.
Yeah, what's the choke?
Coquina clutch.
Yeah, he put the Coquina clutch on Brock, and Brock tried desperately to break it. He rammed him, and there's a famous image of Brock's face turning almost purple and red from the Coquina clutch. I don't know how he could do that with his face. So they're telling you a story here. When's the last time you saw somebody punk out Brock Lesnar on TV?
Goldberg.
Okay. Oh, okay. Right. So listen, that's telling you the difference. I think this match, it's going to be a brawl. It's going to be a 10-minute brawl. I think the rumor is, Paul Heyman really loves Samoa Joe.
Well, most people that have watched pro wrestling recognize the talent Samoa Joe has.
Right.
We know he's a bad wrestler. I think he's
he's good. He's good. We know he's a Triple H guy. And I think Brock sees money in Samoa Joe, as a he poses a credible threat to Brock, and that's the way they're going to build Joe. I don't think Joe winning, Joe losing, is the end all. Right, so they're gonna have an all-out brawl where Joe is gonna get some offense. He's gonna get some serious offense in this match. He's going to take Brock Lesnar to the limit.
But I don't know what you think of this. If this is really just a one-off, which would be a shame, because I don't
think it is. I think maybe if especially
like the first match should be, to me, let's say, just for example, I'm just throwing this out there. Let's say they're going to go to Hell in a Cell, and that'll be it, because that's October with Brock's sporadic appearances.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, maybe I'm just
saying. I would have the first match doesn't even start. They're just beating the hell out of each other, and it's a pull apart fight.
You know what? I don't think they could do that because Brock's been off TV so much. He hasn't defended the title since WrestleMania, so I don't think they could just do that, and it would really disappoint the fans. I think for this match, it'll be an all out brawl. They'll be evenly matched. Maybe they could have interference if they don't want to.
They don't even have to do that. You know how you get out of the match without making either guy look bad? Have Joe put him in the choke, but Brock leverages to where Joe's on his shoulder, on his back, and the referee counts the 3. So Joe
Okay.
doesn't. So Joe doesn't look like he just got beat like a bitch. But,
Okay, yeah,
but Brock still keeps the belt.
Right, you could do that. You could leave doubt in the if you want to go for this.
Yeah, so that way Joe doesn't. So that way Joe, he loses, but he wins, because you could have it to where, yeah, he gets pinned, but he chokes Brock out, and Brock is left laying.
Right.
So that way Joe is elevated, but Brock isn't knocked down.
Right. Listen, right. It's we always talk about the win-win.
If everybody that 5 and pinned,
no,
this was a waste of time.
I think we always talk about this. It's always the best finish is win-win, where each performer comes out.
Exactly.
Right, and I think that their plan is to build Samoa Joe up as an equal. No, yeah, an equal to Brock and a badass. So, all right. So, listen, Jim, we thanks for the talk wrestling with Jimmy and Frank reunion. We had to talk you off the ledge.
No, listen. Hey, listen, Frank. I'm always open to talking to you. I'm just not going to waste my time watching that program. I'll tell you this: if they ever do turn Reigns heel, let me know and I'll start watching again. Because until that happens, or if Daniel Bryan comes back to wrestle,
right?
Because
I know. Listen, but I think you just don't know how it's going to react. When and if that time comes, maybe you won't. It'll be. The ship will have sailed. Just don't stress. I told whoever's watching, and I'm telling you that you thought I was trolling you on the comments. I'm not. I was just trying to tell you like the real deal.
No. I didn't think you were trolling.
I don't know, but
I thought you were giving a devil's advocate type of perspective.
No,
which is fine.
Listen, I don't care. I told you I don't have. I've been watching this wrestling now for over 30 years, 34 years. I don't care. I don't have favorites, or I'm not rooting for this person or that one. I'm just watching. I watch it now just to see how the story keeps unfolding. Like you, I guess I want to see it get better. It's become more fun to talk about it than actually watch it. But I don't really care. It's more fun to analyze.
And I could tell you, Frank. And this is to the guys on the page that are disgruntled. Do yourself a favor. Turn the channel. Cancel the subscription. Give them nothing. It's like with Roman Reigns. The best thing the fans could do, honestly, as much as I hate to say this because I think it's retarded, but it's probably what has to be done, give them nothing. When he comes out, don't cheer him. Don't boo him. Give him nothing.
Yeah, listen. As people,
what are they gonna do? They're gonna spin. Oh, the fans are silent because they're so impressed.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. We got to move on. Listen, if anybody's watching and you're a disgruntled fan, like stop beating yourself up. For the last 5 years, we've seen 7 years, 8 years, we've seen people beat their heads on the wall about Cena turning heel, now Reigns, and how your favorite star isn't going to get his push. Forget it. You're going to be in wrestling. The tendency is to have these fantasies in your mind, and you start building up these superstars and storylines in your mind, and you're only gonna be disappointed. Just last thing. That's why I told you about NXT. Don't get hyped over NXT. I've seen how that story ends with ECW. How ECW was. They made the wrestlers look like $1 million in ECW, and then when they come to WWE, they're doing job matches, except for Rob Van Dam and a couple other people. Anyway, listen, just do yourself a favor. There's other things to do besides watch WWE. You could go watch New Japan.
Listen,
go watch
New Japan. There are plenty of things to do. Listen,
right.
And I'd like to finish with this, if I may, Frank.
Go ahead.
I want to look at the camera when I say this. I had people flat out tell me that this was all I was, that wrestling was the only thing. Without it, I had no life. I can safely tell you, after months of not watching, that nothing could be further from the truth, because I don't know if it's clear, but I'm not the only one that has stopped watching in the last decade. it just took the Undertaker's retirement in the embarrassing way he went out for me to finally say, you know what? Time for me to wave the flag. I've been selling all my belts. I've gotten rid of a lot of my DVDs. I canceled my subscription. And you want to know something, Frank? Between my gaming nights, my books that I've been reading, my work at the job, and now that I've been hitting the gym, I'm a much happier person.
Good, good.
And you want to know why? Because when I'm watching WWE, I can't turn my brain off.
Right. Listen, you free up 3 hours of your time on Monday night, 2 hours of your time on Tuesday night. That's basically 2 nights. There's a million other things to do. If you're not happy, just don't watch it.
But that's what I'm trying to explain to some of my buddies that are still watching. I'm like, don't waste your time.
Listen,
Give them nothing.
Listen, I hate to keep always pulling the my age rank with you or people. Believe me, I only tell you these things because I've gone through them. I stopped watching. I was, again, like you. I was Mr. Wrestling. I stopped watching. I happened to come back. I had no interest in ever watching wrestling again. I started laughing at wrestling. I thought it was whack. I got into it, and it happens. If you stumble, if it happens and you come back to it, fine. But it's other interests, and it's going to be the same thing with the Mets or sports. Eventually,
now the next video Frank and I got to do, we got to talk about this whole Phil Jackson Porzingis thing.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm supposed to finish my article.
You got to hit me up for that one.
Listen, what was I saying? Let's just end this. And Jim, thanks, and we'll see you soon.
Frank, thanks for having me.
Okay.